Can you see it at the top?
I got it. Okay. It is streaming now on our website.
Okay, let me put the link here.
See if I can go. Oh, this is just doing this. I see.
Okay. It's now streaming on the internet on this link right here.
Okay. V, can you hear us?
I can. Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, we can hear everything. So we have another person on our call that we're working on some sound issues. So we started the YouTube feed. The problem is there's a delay from when it's from what you see here and what you see on the YouTube. It's a bit disconcerting. So yeah. So I put the direct link in there, Brian, as well. Okay.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. There you are.
Yay.
Yes.
You must have a tech person in your house.
Yes, my husband.
Oh, great. Good. Good.
I'm Dorothy Hoskins, Joey's mom.
Yeah. Hi, Dorothy.
Hi.
Hi. So we have two people on the call. The rest of us are all folks that are in our office and providing services. Brian Thomas is in here. Wave, Brian. He is our director of innovation, and so you might actually talk to him from time to time with programs or setting up tech services, depending on what you were doing last spring. Myra Patey's up there. Wave, Myra. She is a program specialist and a director. Oh, I'm going to mute Ryan. That works with our preschool programs and early childhood programs. We have Stephanie Romero, who was an RBT and is now a fully certified board certified behavior analyst with us as well. Congratulations, Stephanie, again on that. That's wonderful. We have Robert Mabin, who's over here. Wave, Robert Mabin. He is a program specialist in our transition, high school ILS, high school Nexus programs. Is that it? Is that all I have for you, Robert? That's all. Of course, you might know Blaine Kowick. He is the SELPA director and the director of special ed. We have Kylie Lucchetti. She is the She is the director in special education. Colleen Whitlock, who is a director in our alternative education programs. Diana Harford, who's an assistant soup in our program. That was a cat jumping on my back and scratching me. That really hurt. And Ryan Dixon is there. You can't see him. He's the big R, but he is our BCBA from last year. And Joey is in our he's in our, isn't he in our
Somerville
yeah,
High School program.
Right, the Somerville, I was going to say the ILS program.
That's correct.
Right. And I think Trinka's coming on as well. And so there she is. And so her daughter is also in the ILS program at Somerville.
Hi, Trinka. Hi, Trinka.
Hello.
Hi. So we have Dorothy on, so you can see that, and then we have V as well, who's a parent. So welcome. Again, small number, but we can hopefully work through some very specific things. Since we have mostly Somerville here, we can talk specifically about that program. So as you know, we are entering into the state monitoring watch list. I just got off a call with our 58 counties, and they're all having problems with the state monitoring data list, and there's a delay. Um, uh, which one just went on it? I think it was San Mateo just went on it yesterday, and the problem with them is that they were on it for almost a week with the numbers they had, but it didn't catch up to the state until now. So their 14 days doesn't start until today, even though they've been on it for 7 days. You know, they might be getting better, but their 14 days starts now. So they all had to shift to a distance learning. It's very frustrating. And so what we did last week is we had to make a decision because we know school starting in 2.5 weeks. We needed to give our teachers and instructional staff the ability to gear up. Still looks like that we're moving in the wrong direction. We have test result delays. It's not what we hoped for. It's not the best response from our state in providing support, especially since these restrictions have been placed on us as a criteria for reopening. So we're going to do the best with what we have. And we are fully prepared to, we've already been working with public health. I think I indicated that last time, Trinka, about applying for a waiver in order to provide services in person. The waiver process, to be honest, it was added as a footnote to the public health guidance that came from the state. They did not anticipate anybody actually asking for a waiver. So they had not even created a process. It was supposed to be released Friday. It was again supposed to be released, unless this is an email saying it's been released, which doesn't look like it was. It was supposed to be released today, and so hopefully earlier this week. But we have an idea of what's going to be in that waiver process. We've also asked the state, and the state has heard us, in that we want to have our special education students up through whatever grade they're in, not just restricted to 5th grade and below, but all grades to be able to meet in person in some way. So we'll continue to work with public health on that. I feel like we've got a pretty good system established because we know that our students need to be provided some in-person, as much as possible, support. And just doing a distance learning only model is not going to work. You know, we have a great staff. So I'm going to start off with maybe, unless I lost her. Nope, she's right there, right in front of me. Sorry, Kylie. Kylie, I put her on the spot last time, and she did a nice job explaining the thinking of this group, of all of the people who have come together around what could we put in place for the start of school. It'll require some distance learning, but also some in person. So Kylie, do you want to start it right now?
Sure. So one of the things that we're looking at as a definite possibility and something that we're working towards with the beginning of this school year is providing services and supports in more of a clinic model, where we have appointments for students to come in and meet with their service providers and staff to get direct instruction to work on goals-based work for their IEP needs. And also to do some modeling and coaching for parents and caregivers during that time on how those situations and those goals are being handled in a school setting, or may translate to being handled at home. And so the idea would be for there's still a distance learning portion of it. There's still learning that will be happening at home in contact with the teacher through the distance learning format, but then also receiving those services and supports in person in more of a one-on-one fashion to be able to meet those needs more meaningfully during this time.
Ryan, I know you've been working with one of our OTs about what that design could look like, and also with a lot of other folks. I was wondering if you or Stephanie, if you could expand upon that.
Yeah, I apologize. I may cut out. I'm driving right now, but what we were looking at hopefully was have it mimic what the in-home therapy, or not in-home, but the what therapies like ABA, OT, speech look like in a clinic format. And so basically it would be one to one or very small group meetings where we go over where we do active practice on AP goals and academic targets, and it would be in an intensive format. And I'm not saying like the traditional discrete trial training that oftentimes people picture, but in a really intensive, close, and meaningful meeting where we work, we track data, and we're able to track progress, and we're able to do more individualized and intensified lessons for the individual during that time. I'm not sure how much of that got through.
No, it all got through, Ryan. Thank you.
Okay.
I don't know if Blaine or Robert want to add into that, since Robert, this is the program that you will be overseeing.
Yeah, so in all the programs that we're all working to develop a model that supports the kids not only academically but also with their service providers. So we're still developing that right now, even for the teachers. But we're hoping that there still will be what they're talking about, where there's based where the students are able to come in. We talked to some people at one of the high schools today about making sure that there's space available. So when we're able to do that, that it's safe. And so we're working on that also. So we should have a good plan put together, hopefully, depending on when we learn what the waiver says, soon.
So one of the things that I'm also preparing to do is to apply for a waiver, even if they do limit for K through 5. The reason they put the K through 5 guidance on there was because of the CDC recommendation that, well, at that time, and as we know, as we start to learn more, because that's the nature of science, the idea was that young children don't transmit the virus very easily, but of course that's been turned on its head in the last week with some most recent studies. But we also feel that we can meet a safe model of instruction done in small, tiny, one, maybe two people at a time, 2 students at a time, interacting depending on the student's needs, but also working with a pod of assigned related service providers so that we don't have service providers rotating around the county, that they're assigned to a group of students. And most of them are in our county programs, they're assigned to a group of students anyway. You have the same OT, you have the same SLP, you have the same people working on that with them. So we feel like this model could help get them into a school environment, get them some intensive time, working on a variety of goals. It will not be the school-based model. It won't be school. And I think we just need to, acknowledge that we're not doing school. This is something that's not quite school. But it's going to try and meet some of their needs right now. And at least it will also prepare them for when we go back to school, which hopefully, if things go well, we're anticipating an end of September, very beginning of October return in some format. We'll have some behaviors and some things that they'll be used to interacting with on campuses that will allow them to transfer to a more, to a school environment with other kids around, because they've already been attending in some format. We're not quite sure. We have a couple of models about where those services are. I don't know which high school you talked to, Robert, today, but I know that we're concerned about overstretching our staff as well, because our related service providers don't just provide services for our programs, our county-run programs. They also provide services for all the districts as well. And if I could take all my staff and just do county programs, we would have a lot of sessions. But because they need to provide district support as well, I have to be cognizant of that so that I'm not overstretching them in regards to their services. If they are providing district level support, we could also look at a model like that at the district level, where students are coming in if they need more intensive services in a clinic type of setting, where they're there for 2 to 3 hours, depending on their needs. And I want to open it up to questions. And if you want to ask questions about your specific child, what I'm going to do is I'm going to end the YouTube portion of it, because we are, it's on, even though you have to know what the link is, or you have to go to our site to find it. I don't want to put any of that out there about your own child if you want to ask specific questions, but we're small enough where you can, or if you feel comfortable doing that, we can.
I have a question. This is Dorothy. So when you say kids will not be on campus, but maybe for 2, maybe 3 hours, are we talking about IEP goal type work, or picking up like work like that they could do at home? Or in other words, where would they be starting? Are they starting back where they finished off in February, March of this year? Or
That's
you
a
see what I'm
great
saying?
question, right? Yeah. How far did they get before? And every child will be individual.
Okay.
Some did work in the spring and were able to move forward. Some tried to do work in the spring and it just wasn't successful, and some might have regressed. And so we need to make that assessment right when we get back to school. Right, this is actually before school starts kind of process, which is where are each of the kids and where do we need to start, even if it's taking a few steps back to move forward. And it has to be individualized. So we're
Right.
also going to ask parents to be a little patient with us as we start meeting with kids and adjust very quickly what we're doing, where we think they should be on their goals, and then we find, oh, that skill was lost, or we need to reinforce that some more before moving forward, and just being very good at communication about that.
Okay.
If I can make a comment. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. I have a point that when my son Joey, and I'm not trying to take over saying let's talk about Joey all the time, but